Welcome to episode 848 of Hard Factor. It is Monday, January 3rd, 2022. I don't know. I don't have a sound effect for it. But New Year. Whoa.
New Year, same shit. You're gonna get that a lot. You're gonna get that a lot this week.
There you go. Thank you for cheating on the news with us today. We got Mark, Pat, and I'm Will. Sadly, Wes begins this 2022 working a wedding.
Yeah, this is the Wes rehab configuration. Remember that?
Well, yeah.
That's right. We had
Wes
this
is,
for that
Wes
month.
is 0 for 1 on 2022 shows. His perfect attendance ended day one.
That's right. That's right. That's right. But congrats to him. He made it 18 months after that.
Yeah, man. Pretty good.
Congrats to them.
Pretty good.
He's also this is his move though. He oftentimes, remember, he would go to the beach and take his son the first week of school, so his son would have to miss the first several days of school. He's done that tons of times. He likes to set the tone early. He misses the first day and announces it, right? You know.
It's a lot cheaper to go at the end of season.
That's true.
He likes to keep a packed schedule. That Wes. He keeps the calendar full. He likes a big Rolodex, a fat wallet, packed schedule.
Yes.
I also, Pat, I don't know if you have this in the cup of coffee, but R.I.P. to Betty White, John Madden, Dan Reeves, just a ton of people. So.
I don't have any of the rips. That's great to say. Betty White, she did. John Madden, he did. That's a bummer.
That sucks.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't suck because
2022, the new year was it seemed like it was a harbinger of deaths, several high-profile deaths.
But they got him out of the way. It still counts for 2021, so we're past it.
Right. But Dan Reeves was 2022.
If you lose someone sub 80, I could see somebody like that sucks, right? But 99,
Madden was sub 80.
She wants out.
Yeah, but the shitty part about Betty White was just how close she was to 100. People had done a huge spread for her 100th birthday where they printed the magazine covers. They already did the interview. They conducted the I'm 100 interview. I made it to 100, and they printed the fucking magazines.
I saw the People magazines at the grocery store.
That sucks.
That's weird.
You don't think Betty knew what she was doing a little bit though?
Trolling them. Yeah.
You absolutely control your death within 3 days. At that, you could fight through, or you could.
She's like, I think we should do the interview.
Yeah. She's a comedian.
She is. She's a great time.
True to form. And then Madden, they took him off broadcasts almost 15 years ago. You know what I mean?
I know, but he was so formative. I was thinking about who else in my life had more of an impact on my young mind than John Madden. There's not many more people. I played so much Madden growing up that I heard his voice a lot. It was just constant Madden in my head growing up.
Madden's got to be the GOAT of commentating.
Yeah.
And he was on the TV every Sunday. And that video game was very good. Yeah, good video game.
Mm-hmm. He had the perfect ability to talk in a manner that was very dumbed down, but not dumb. He would just.
He's a master.
He would just
smart
hit
but dumb.
That certain part of your brain where I know exactly what he's saying, and I'm enjoying how much this guy knows about football. And I don't feel dumbed down to.
Not only that,
like how the Simpsons and probably most people depict a Gerald Ford type character.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. But he's he's very endearing, but he's not intimidating, even though he has an intimidating amount of knowledge of football.
Exactly. Yeah. Actually, the highest win percentage of all time of all NFL coaches with a minimum of 100 games. A beast.
He's a good coach. Yeah,
great in that movie Little Giants too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What a cameo.
Yeah, what a cameo.
Oh, great in everything he did, honestly.
I got to know that guy that wrote Little Giants.
From the field to the booth, everything.
Later in his career, Tommy Swerdlow, he was the guy that he was high on heroin when he wrote that movie and all the Disney movies he wrote.
Little Giants?
Should have been called Little Dragons, you know what I mean?
Yep, he was high on heroin for Snow Dogs. Hey. He was high on heroin for Little Giants.
You could tell in Snow Dogs that was probably
for the Big Green. Mm-hmm. Cool Runnings, high on heroin.
No way.
Big time.
So is John Candy, probably. Sad, R.I.P. Well, got those out of the way. Sorry, I just wanted.
Okay.
We hadn't really talked about them, and they were stacking up. So
yeah,
there you go.
Let's jump into the news, huh? What do you say?
Let's do it.
Okay, maybe we'll I don't know, talk about the
cup of coffee in the big time.
It's January 3rd, as Will said. You know the drill. Going to start with a fun fact. J.R.R. Tolkien, who wrote, Lord of the Rings, and C.S. Lewis.
Big heroin guy.
And C.S. Lewis, who wrote, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah.
Chronicles of Narnia.
Titans
They were homies
of literacy. Yeah.
and hardcore homies. They hung real tough. So I thought that was cool. Both went to Oxford, and they called each other best friends. But the truth is, the pair had much more of a troubled relationship, right? At first, the two authors were very close. In fact, Tolkien's wife, Edith, was reportedly jealous of their friendship. And it was Tolkien.
Jealous or concerned that they were fucking?
I think, but reading between the lines of this biography of their friendship, absolutely concerned that they were
You
fucking.
draw the conclusion, Mark.
But yes, Mark.
That's what I'm thinking.
I got the same vibe here from these words I'm reading to you. And it was Tolkien who convinced Lewis to return to Christianity. So, pretty much influenced the whole series.
You got to stop fucking me in the ass and get back to Christ, bro.
But guys, their
Life's
relationship,
catching on.
their relationship cooled over what Tolkien perceived as Lewis's anti-Catholic leanings and scandalous personal life. Sorry.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So is Tolkien a Catholic and Lewis is a Protestant, and that was like a big issue?
Yeah, I guess it could be.
Oh.
I guess it could be.
Whoa.
So there you go. But what a powerhouse, right?
Yeah,
of buddies.
Yeah.
That's a lot of science fiction books sold between the two of those guys.
Big time.
That is a lot of books sold.
That brings us to our holidays.
You let a nerd inside their like little shared studio, and he's not leaving before it looks like a Jackson Pollock in there. It's just,
Exactly.
How many
he's gonna
pages
finish.
will it take you to metaphorically explain Christianity?
Yeah.
Me.
He's going to complete his life's work in there. You know.
Yeah, he is going to complete his life's work in there.
Maybe bang his buddy.
And complete.
Maybe finger his buddy feehole. Takes us to holidays, guys. It happens to be J.R.R. Tolkien Day. It's his birthday. So there you go.
Congrats.
It's also
J.R.R. Tolkien's ghost for having a day.
I mean, like a lot of people get a day,
son...
and it's their birthday, which I like. It shouldn't be a different day. I don't know.
I know that the guy who wrote Dune's son took over the books and ruined them, and he's like, "Oh, I've got my father's notes. I'll just write the last 4 books."
That happens sometimes.
Didn't Tolkien's? I think Tolkien's kid started trying to do that bullshit too.
There may have been an attempt, but I've never read any of a second Tolkien's works.
No.
Mark, it's funny you say that. I was reading about a series that I hadn't heard of before, and they were saying that exact same thing, that the guy had written and then his son took over.
I hate when that happens because it's
Why?
just not nearly as good. Because it's the books
Usually
suck.
it's a big step down.
Because the books suck when the kid writes them.
That Wheel of Time series,
Yeah.
there was 2 authors, and apparently
That's the
people
one
really
I
like the second author.
That's the one I'm thinking of, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they were related. Were they? Was that
I don't
an
know.
author?
Instant turn off for me when the
We don't
second
know.
generation tries to pick up where the father left off there.
Sorry, Mark.
It's too cheesy for Mark.
Pass.
What
Okay.
if the second writer, one day Mark's gonna like that
Show
bias?
me a second writer who's better.
You're
Show
gonna
me
like
a son
pass
who's
on a
better
guy
than
who's
his
a
father at
junior.
writing. Yeah. Show it to me. Give me an example.
I mean, it happens in business all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Just saying Ford, right? It's a pretty big brand. People have
Right.
heard of that.
If you're a junior taking on the family enterprise, don't talk to Mark. Mark has got no time for it.
Fresh blood in there, guys. National Right to Congress Day today, which is appropriate because after her Twitter ban, that's just about the only way you can get in touch with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Am I right?
Adam.
Right?
Come on.
Are we talking more about that later? Or is that
We are talking more about that later. But
good.
seriously, guys, the letter today is more impactful than it ever has been before because, it's hard to do compared to an email or a text. And writing to
pen is mightier
Congress,
than the sword, they say.
writing to Congress does, in fact, get your congressperson's attention. So if you have an issue, you should write to them.
Hey, Mark, if a series had to be taken over after a guy dies or a woman, not to say that only
Right.
sci-fi series, how would you like the next writer to be selected? Do you think it should be like a crucible like of essays or like how does that work?
I think there should be some vetting. Here, let me give you another example. This wasn't an Offspring, but how did Game of Thrones end on HBO? How'd that go when they passed the author?
Oh, horribly.
Do you need more?
No.
I mean, he wasn't writing the
slam
TV
dunk
script,
right there.
though.
Yeah. I mean, come on. It's the original author's fucking idea and concept. It's not going to be good when another person tries to imitate it.
Not necessarily true. You liked the new
This
Dune.
is good
everyone
for
liked-
writers, by the way, that are afraid of robots because
Yeah, that's happening.
Right. This proves the biological mind. There's something intangible there, right?
It's a matter of time. National Thank God It's Monday Day today.
Okay.
It's not just the first day of the week, it's the first day of the rest of our lives, is literally what it says. It's National Humiliation Day, which is a day to humiliate others and spread hatred.
It's my type of day.
I might have gotten that wrong. Might be religious. I don't know. Let's get into today in history, guys. In 1990, after undergoing 10 days of psychological warfare, which included U.S. General Maxwell Mad Max Thurman ordering speakers placed as a, quote, musical barrier around the perimeter of the Vatican embassy and turned to full volume, Panamanian military leader Manuel Noriega surrendered to the Estados Unidos. So, do you guys want to guess what was on the playlist? Because it's pretty fucking sick.
The Star Spangled Banner.
No, all hot tunes of the day. Give It Up by Casey and the Sunshine Band. Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley. No More Mr. Nice Guy by Alice Cooper. Paranoid by Black Sabbath. Welcome to the Jungle, Guns N' Roses. Wanted Dead or Alive, Bon Jovi. The End by The Doors. Panama by Van Halen. Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins. Refugee by Tom Petty.
He rickrolled this guy.
Yeah, for 10 days.
Noriega got rickrolled.
Yeah.
That's a good list, though.
I mean, honestly,
I'd listen to that shit for 10 days.
It's the best thing to do to, like, get the hosts of the refugee to kick them on the street, right? Like, the priests were like, okay, cool, Manuel, we get it. You're a Catholic. You can hang with us for a while. And they're like, get the fuck out, Manuel.
That's
been
a lot
10
of music.
days.
Yeah.
In 1977, guys, Apple was incorporated by Jobs and Wozniak. So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
And then the third guy that sold his shares for like $1,000. What an idiot.
Oh, man. So they started at the new year, huh? They're a big launch in the new year type group, that Apple. Okay.
Yep, pretty big.
Even though they're September releases now. Okay.
And in 1959, Alaska became the 49th state. So that's pretty good.
Nice.
Welcome. Let's get to trending mentions, guys. Let's keep it on Alaska. Polar bears. Polar bears were trending because polar bears in Alaska, according to a new report from the Telegraph UK, it indicates that, I guess, the temperature on Kodiak Island, Alaska, has been affecting the polar bears as it hit a record for the month of December, topping out at around 67 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty hot. And as a result, a vast number of polar bears have been forced to immigrate to Russia, and some are calling it sad.
Yeah.
But no one's calling what it really is, which is traitorous.
Yeah, they're leaving yeah, they are. They're leaving America.
Wow.
Yeah, it is sad. And
I
it's
say
not
good
great for
riddance.
it's not great for the townsfolk. Polar bears were my favorite animal growing up. Love polar bears.
You stick around and you help fix the problem. You don't just go to one of our enemies' countries.
I feel like we still probably have a bunch on our side too.
We really don't.
Yeah.
They're really leaving.
But I mean, like their ice is melting, so they just get stuck
do you want them
wherever
to
they're
do?
at, right?
Yeah,
like
what do
I
you want
mean,
them to do?
so like
They
the
gotta
ice.
go where the ice is.
We got some. They didn't all go to Russia.
They know
right?
what they're doing.
I mean, it's
What if
it's tough for the
if
polar
we
bear.
had more ice? I bet they'd come back. They're all about the ice. You know?
Right? Why don't we just cool it down a little bit?
We can cool it down.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. Antonio Brown, guys, made headlines on Sunday because he quit. Just quit his team.
Had him in the old fantasy lineup.
That's
fun.
tough. That's
Fun
tough.
watching that little explosion on the sideline while I'm
Yeah.
just
That was
getting my
awesome.
ass kicked.
He just walked off the
The
field
other guys got chased.
mid-game against the Jets. And Tampa Bay Bucks coach Bruce Arians said after the game that Brown is, quote, no longer a Buck.
Yeah, I would
Yeah, no
imagine
shit.
instantly fired. Yeah, there's really no point in bringing him in for a meeting and asking him if he's willing to. Are you going to do that again? No, that's a one and done. When you take off your pads and strip down in the middle of a game and then throw your gear into the crowd and then
Right.
wave to the crowd and leave like you're Nixon getting off the plane.
If you didn't see it, watch the video.
yeah.
It's insane. I've never
Yeah.
He quit.
hadn't
I
seen
mean-
another athlete really do that mid
No,
game.
ever.
Well, look,
people,
it was
people
for
are saying
good
Bruce
reason.
Arians fired him, but
It was for good reason,
quit.
guys.
He walked off the job. Yeah.
Well, look,
Shirtless.
Arians
It was pretty incredible.
reportedly said, hey, AB, we need you in the game, to which AB said, not right now, coach. And then he said, we really need you in the game. He said, I quit. Because,
Okay.
yeah. When
You don't tell AB when to get in the game
when to play.
when he's on your team. You don't. He tells you.
He
Let
tells
me give you a third option. See you later. You know? He missed out on $1 million. If he just played the next 2 weeks, he would.
Yeah, someone broke the stats
down.
down. It was like 333,000 for like
5
8 more catches
or
yeah,
something.
whatever.
Yeah, and like 55 more yards and like one more touchdown, he would have made $1 million.
Hope the clip was worth it. Because
I mean, he whatever.
I don't know.
He doesn't need the money. But what I will say is, you just hate it when a guy that everyone knows is a fucking problem gets a second chance and then proves that he's a fucking problem.
I kind of love it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, it's
look,
awesome.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
I love it every time it happens.
A lot of people had a lot to say, but I think it's most important we hear from an NFL legend and murderer. And I'm not talking about Ray Lewis. I'm not talking about Robert Rozier. I'm not talking about Anthony Smith. Not Philip Adams.
Aaron Hernandez from the grave.
Not Ray Caruth. Not Hernandez from the grave. I'm, of course, talking about O.J. Simpson, who tweeted inexcusable #Antonio Brown, and then and then he gave us this little ditty.
Hey, Twitter world, it's me, yours truly, watching the championship weekend with many of my league co-players in fantasy. There's one thing that we all agree on, as well as the other people here, is with what Tom Brady has done for Antonio Brown. For him to pull what he pulled today is completely inexcusable.
So is the murder of your ex-wife. Ronald Brown Goldman.
It's like if your wife started fucking a golf pro.
Or
That's like what Antonio Brown did.
or the host at the restaurant down the street.
It's amazing to me that OJ can just hang out in a sports book like that, and people are just cool. Like, wouldn't you always be on edge around
Who's
OJ?
in his fantasy league?
No, that was a private room, I think, Willie.
Yeah, but he said a bunch of the people in my fantasy league are sitting with me.
We're all cooling out in the sports book at the fantasy league.
Could you imagine if they had a punishment and like OJ lost the league? Are they really going to hold him to the punishment? No.
OJ always wins the league.
It's okay, OJ. Hey, OJ didn't pay again.
Yeah, exactly.
You can ask him for the dues.
Dude.
Who's gonna pick up OJ and take him to the store to get that tattoo on his ass? Because he lost the league.
The fact that OJ is in a fantasy league with anyone, right, is an example of literally the thing that's wrong with the human condition, which is everyone is principled until they get close to something that they would consider sweet, and then they throw the principles out the fucking window.
For sure. Yeah, he could have gone on and said, and everyone here in my fantasy league also has no morals because they hang out with me. So, yeah.
It's inexcusable. I love how Twitter keeps him unverified. It's a little jab.
Could be some other OJ.
Or a little stab, I'm sorry. All right, number 3, guys. This one's pretty dope. Storms hit the town of Texarkana, Texas hard over the weekend, bringing rain, hail, and something very unexpected, something called animal rain. And I'm going to kick it over to the good folks at KSLA, the local news station, to tell us exactly what happened.
Security video at Discount Wheel and Tire in Texas shows heavy rain coming down on Wednesday afternoon. But to the surprise of many, more than water was falling from the sky.
Then I guess it started hailing.
Yep, wind blowing, raining, hailing.
And it could have been the fish slapping the top of the roof over his ears, too.
Yep.
That's right. It was raining fish in parts of Texarkana.
I didn't know what to think. I thought it was pretty cool. I started getting me a bucket and start picking them up and using them for fishing bait.
They're kind of fishy.
Work here went from installing tires to removing dead fish from the parking lot.
You see them all laying out there? They shine. I couldn't believe it. I don't know when it happened. I've never seen it before.
Never heard of that before. Never really heard of it happening.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened, Pat?
Well, it rained fish, Mark.
Yeah, but how did it rain fish?
Where did the fish come from?
Did the fish come from the lake overflowing and it didn't actually come from the sky?
We're trying to figure it out. Imagine those cats trying to figure it out, right?
Right.
They got the fish right there in front of them.
Yeah, it's tough. The fish is right there.
Yeah.
I heard it slapping against the roof. See, that's
What?
damning. If it hit the roof, how did it get from the sky?
Right. You never want an unknown fish popping up.
Guys, according to a post from the City of Texarkana Facebook page, animal rain is a phenomenon that occurs when small water animals like frogs, crabs, and small fish are swept up in water spouts or drafts that occur on the surface of the earth, and then they're rained down at the same time as the rain.
That's terrifying.
Right. Well, it's uncommon. It happens. as evidenced in Texarkana today.
This town had fish.
That's
raining on it.
amazing.
That's crazy.
So strong winds plus heavy rains, which that
Water
makes sense
spouts.
in like East Texas,
li-
like Northeast
yeah.
Texas, right? Texarkana.
Yeah.
Yeah. Water spouts are shooting these things up in the air and then dropping them back down.
Look at him.
Crazy.
You can see him shining.
That was the best. They shine.
Yeah.
Scales, yeah.
That's great. Yeah, fucking crazy. I just thought that was nuts. That was cool.
It is.
Let's get to number 2, guys. Biden, Ukraine. So last week, Biden and Putin got on the old horn again for what I'm sure, for a multitude of reasons, was very confusing. And the main two being the language barrier and that the two leaders combined for an age of 148. But the main reason for the call, which was followed up by one that they just had last month, if you remember, was Biden to be like, listen, Jack, don't invade Ukraine. And for Putin to be like, so I heard you have a new dog, right? Not getting anywhere. Let's be honest.
Yeah, new cat too.
Cat
coming in the
too,
office.
right? But according to a readout of a conversation between Biden,
How many new pets is this guy gonna have? Dude, he's had 1 year. He's had like 6 pets.
They had to get rid of the one. One died, and they had to give the other one away.
well, it's a card that you can play, Will. When your
Yeah, but
approval
you
rating
can't
is
play
low.
it this much. It's ridiculous. It's like a revolving door of pets at this point.
It's definitely a bump in the ratings.
Oh, big time. The second one is
And
less effective.
He got cat people too, like me. He didn't just do the dog. It was smart.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But you're always chasing that high, the first pet, you know.
If he gets rid of that fucking cat,
Well, it's amazing he went with a puppy for the next one.
Yeah.
He's he's really pulling out the stops, and he sent the old dog away. He was like,
oh
he-
no,
the
no,
old
to
dog's
family
just
friends,
gone.
that dog's dead. That dog's
The old
dead.
dog's is gone. He
They
sent it.
They
He's
put
like,
that dog.
I don't
That was
wanna
the
see it.
biter. That was the
no.
biter dog.
The biter was gone, but then the old one was remaining. But then the old one got sent away when the puppy
Yes.
came in. He was like, I don't want to see this.
I
old
thought
one
the old
anymore.
one died of natural causes or something, and then the biter.
Oh, wait, the
just
old
got
one
sent to him.
died. Oh,
I
yeah,
thought
you're
the old
right.
one died,
Champ.
and then everyone's like, "Oh, wrong son died," because the biter was still around, and they just shipped the biter off because
Oh yeah, you're right. That's what happened. The biter got sent away. My
to
bad.
family friends, which is
My
like,
bad.
okay.
My bad. My
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
That dog's dead.
It's hard to track because there's been so many.
No,
That's
it
the
is a
thing.
lot. And we're
That's a
used to
lot of
presidents
movement.
just having the one.
The guy needs to take care of his pets better. You
And
know,
then
if
there
you-
was,
if you're
like,
supposed to take care of the entire country. You got to take care of your pets.
And then
right?
there was at the beginning,
Right?
there was supposed to be a cat, but then there was no cat because the biter, right? Because it was like,
Yeah, thank God they didn't get the fucking cat around the
but
biter.
now it's
a
the cat
puppy.
coming in. Is it the
Yeah,
same cat
in
it was going to
January.
be?
I
Is
don't
it
know.
the same cat it was to start?
I promise you, I'll do the research and get back to you on it.
Interesting.
We know you will, Mark, and we appreciate that. Back to the national policy issue here, guys.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, according to a readout of a conversation between Biden and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Sunday, Biden told Zelensky that the U.S. and its allies will, quote, respond decisively if Russia further invades Ukraine, which is going to happen, guys. As many as 100,000 Russian troops have remained just hanging out on the Ukrainian border, despite warnings from Biden and EU leaders. Yeah, it's going to go down. U.S. intelligence is saying that Russia's probably going to make a move as early as 2022, which I think is now. So really hope that doesn't drag us into war. Not really. Don't have a joke about this one. Just wanted to keep you
He
guys
had
up to
sent
speed.
home a 10,000 plus troops right before the call too.
It's fucking
like,
sucks when you have a
they're
psychopath.
just hanging out, like you say. So hopefully it doesn't.
I got a
happen.
joke for it. How come they're talking to Dan Aykroyd's character from Tommy Boy? Zelensky Autos.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
It's the same exact last name.
Oh, and one time
Yeah.
I had a Ukrainian
Throwback.
Uber driver, and even though they spell it like Voldemort in Ukraine, it's actually Vladimir.
Oh, good to
How
know.
they
That's a lot
pronounce it.
easier to say.
Yeah.
A lot easier to say. Let's get to the number one story of the day, guys. Also known as
The cream of the crop!
Okay, so America's cunt, Marjorie Taylor Greene, was permanently suspended from Twitter on Sunday for getting her 5th strike on the platform. This according to Twitter's COVID-19 misleading information policy.
5 strikes and you're out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the tweet that broke the hospital workers' morale was on Saturday, in which Greene said, quote, extremely high amounts of COVID vaccine deaths are happening, and then she included a chart some say is misleading because it was from information from the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, or virus. And the problem with virus, guys, is literally anyone can report to it. According to their website, this is what it is, right? The Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System is a national early warning system to detect possible safety problems in U.S. licensed vaccines. VAERS is co-managed by the CDC and the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. VAERS accepts and analyzes reports of adverse events, possible side effects following vaccination. And then also, according to the FDA website, reports generally cannot be used to determine if a vaccine caused or contributed to an adverse event or illness. So VAERS essentially is like anyone get on there right now and report, and then that data point, whether true or not.
I died from the vaccine.
Exactly.
Submit.
Will go into a pool that is not meant to make essentially graphs like MGT was using. It's meant to say, we got to investigate this. Is there something going on?
So yeah, it's just like saying I got like
it's a warning
rash.
system. Yeah.
I could never get erection after. I wonder. I mean, allegedly they get a lot of those.
It's like using de Blasio's dick pic hotline to identify people. I don't have his face, but they sent in another dick pic.
Exactly.
It's
Yes.
like not exactly the source you want to be using.
Right. Anyway,
Right. It's a dick pic hotline.
that was
It's a dick
strike
pic hotline.
5 for her. She got her 4th strike in August when she falsely posted that the vaccines were failing. And a 3rd strike a month before that when she tweeted that COVID-19 was not dangerous and the vaccines should not be mandated. And yeah, so 5 strikes, she got banned.
I mean, that one's like, what? How is that like that? That's a strike.
I mean, I don't have the exact tweet because I couldn't find them. But according to
That's
like
just a
all the
matter of
news outlets, she's saying that COVID-19 is not
soft
dangerous.
strike.
I don't know.
Very soft strike on that one. If that's
Right.
what it was.
Uh,
They better
This
have
was
had some inflammatory
This-
words.
If they're striking her for things like this was always going to happen because she's constantly tweeting. She's probably constantly tweeting about COVID. Like this was just inevitable. I have a theory that I think she probably wanted it to happen because now she can be like, look, they're silencing me.
Well, she did say that, and look,
Yeah.
that's the big debate online. Is Twitter anti-American? Is this an invasion of the free speech? Section 230 trended hard, which, if you remember, guys, is part of the FCC Decency Act that says no provider or user of an interactive computer service shall be treated as the publisher or speaker of any information provided by another information content provider. So that essentially says, like, hey, we're not responsible for what you say on our platform. It's a protection for Twitter and really anyone that has a website or message
forum
board.
sites and
And
stuff.
that's kind of dumb that it was trending because people were like, people were saying things like Christian PM says Section 230 is against the First Amendment
Because
And
it
it's like,
protects Twitter when they do something like this.
right. But
Look at that avatar though. It was like
What was
1980
it?
Pegasus. What is that? Oh, is that
Don't
a
wanna
guy?
fuck with
Is that a
Christine.
guy with angel wings, or is that
Oh,
Pegasus?
Christian PM.
yeah, Christian
Holy
PM.
shit.
But it's look,
I think
Section
it's one of those
230
walls, Mark. It's like the angel wings
Okay.
on a wall, and somebody stands and you take a
Okay.
picture.
Section 230 is the
Worst
most
thing.
pro free
You're
speech
right.
thing you can have because if you got rid of it, then you would have government overreach shutting shit down. It really comes down to whether you think, look, is Twitter a right or is it a private company allowing you to
I mean,
communicate?
I think that Mark's theory is worth exploring because like she does get to keep the like her district's
The congressional,
rep,
she gets
rep MTG
the congressional, yeah.
right at rep MTG stays right, so she still
She
has
can use
Twitter
that
presence.
as a pulpit.
And now
say
she
that
can
she was
say
silenced,
I'm
yeah.
being censored. Like she's like because like she's in rural Georgia, right? And it's like she can now in her campaign be like, I got the libs so scared of me they're banning me from Twitter, and that's going to get like a lot of shotgun blasts and
It's
cheers
a good thing for
from
her
the crowd.
in her
Right.
in
I
her
mean,
area.
she literally got elected by championing Q, like being a straight
Oh
open
yeah, so this
Qer.
is a feather in the cap. Like
Right.
this is like where she's from, where she needs to get votes from. This isn't like a slight.
Yeah, this is like a pilot getting his wings or her wings because they flew enough hours.
Right.
She got her wings.
Right. But the point is, look, you got to figure out whether or not Twitter's not the end all be all. Everyone's on Getter now, and that'll take us to our next fucking conversation here. Getter. We'll get to Getter in just a second. Dr. Malone was also trending on Twitter. He's a U.S. virologist who claims to be the inventor of mRNA, the mRNA vaccine technology, which is a little bit, it's a little Al Gore,
right?
It's a
Yeah,
little
I
Al
invented
Gore-y.
the internet. Yeah, right,
Yeah.
sure.
But he's been banned from Twitter for spreading anti-vaccine content. He tweeted on the 29th that Pfizer's 6-month data shows that their inoculations for COVID-19 cause more illness than they prevent.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He claims that's a bold claim. I mean, that you would say that the vaccine is actually more harmful than helpful. I mean, that's
the guy who invented the technology too.
Right.
So,
I mean, he'd have to have a lot of evidence, right, to prove that, right? I think, especially when you look at the death rate of COVID from year 1 to year 2. I guess this guy would argue, well, that's just because people have better treatment options after they get it. I don't know that he needs a lot of fucking data to prove that claim.
All the craziest people I know are misusing data to say that like elite athletes are dying because of the COVID vaccine. That's what I know. All the people that I know are batshit crazy that I know personally.
Fudge data. There's so much data out there and a lot of misinformation that you can get it to say what you want it to say.
Mm-hmm. All your crazy friends from high school that are quote doctors from some sort of like herbalist college. It just so happens that they're getting political right now, and you've always known them to be a batty fucking weirdo. Those are the people in my circle that are using that data, and I'm like,
I tried to get a little bit of a slap on the wrist from Twitter, and I guess my account's not big enough.
Well, we know that.
No, it's not. Twitter. Mark, you're not on the list because I've been slapped with this tag a few times. But I'm on the
it's not about COVID and vaccines and stuff like that. I don't.
Oh, Mark, I got suspended, and you did the same thing.
Well, I've done that before, but I'm saying I put up a picture of Ben Affleck and called him out for being a douchebag, and then I wrote a comment saying at Twitter, by the way, Ben Affleck totally allowed me to use this picture of him. No, crickets from Twitter. Because you're not supposed to use people's images unless they ask you to. So I basically threw a softball. I threw a softball up to Twitter to be like, you're right, we should delete this.
In your court.
I want to do a side pod. Would you do a side pod for Patreon with me, Mark, where we talk about copyright law? Because I want to get you straight on it. Because I think
that sounds incredibly boring, but sure.
Okay. Well, it's not Affleck. It's the owner of the copyright. But anyway, doesn't matter. This guy.
Sure, I'm in.
Okay, cool. This guy, Dr. Malone, he was the guy that was mostly recently on Rogan's show. Rogan. Rogan tweeted a link yesterday as well to follow him on Getter.
Right, because he thinks he thinks the big government's coming for him, or big Twitter, which obviously, like, Biden's been open about asking Facebook to shut accounts down, so he thinks that he's going to be in the crosshairs next.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny because Rogan's like full length pod episodes aren't on YouTube anymore because he's on Spotify now, and everyone's like they censored him. So I don't know if they did or not with the Robert Malone.
Google just shut it down.
But yeah, Getter, guys, if you don't know, is a social media. This is from their website. Social media platform for microblogging intended for American conservatives. It's from that guy that was the Trump aide. But yeah, finally, this is what MTG said on Getter. And guys, this is why it's not against the First Amendment, because we still heard what MTG said, and she just went to a different platform to say it. So MTG said on Getter, well, Maxine Waters can go to the streets and threaten violence on Twitter. Kamala Harris and Ilhan can bail out rioters on Twitter. And chief spokesman for terrorist IRGC can tweet mourning Soleimani, but I get suspended for tweeting Veris statistics. Twitter is an enemy of America and can't handle the truth. That's fine. I'll show America we don't need them, and it's time to defeat our enemies.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she's going to be riding that one all the way to
add
re-election.
Twitter to the list of enemies, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And look, if you want to hear what she has to say, if you want to be in a small pond with Marjorie Taylor Greene, go get on Getter. It'll be great. But Twitter's going to win out here. Sorry, honey. It's tough, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, I don't see Getter passing Twitter anytime soon.
Getter.
Also, again, posting of pictures seems to
you see her over there?
You can post whatever you want.
It's going to be fun when she posts that from her Twitter account she still has.
Yeah, she could just do that from her Twitter account. By the way, I think we talked about it. I think it's a strong point for her to get reelected in that area, Georgia, where they're going to be like, hell yeah, she's fighting the good fight. And how do you bet on that? Predictit.org/promo/hard
factor 40.
Because you get $40 free matched if you
go to that URL.
Totally legal in all 50 states. So it's a lot of fun. She's at 85 cents. Yes, and
this took her down a cent. Who?
I don't think that's. I mean, what? I think that she in her area where she is, she's going to get reelected. This is going to help her. So the way it works is if she does, that goes to 99 cents to $1. So 85 cents on the dollar, you get 15 cents off the bone there. For every dollar you put on Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Explain that a little bit more.
Okay, so like, it's like the stock market, and every market has different options. Either yes, no, like that one, she's going to win, yes or no. Some of them are like, she's going to win by this percent, and there's more bands, but one band will win at the end when it comes to election day and all these different things. And that band will go to $1. That's the maximum you can go to and predict it. So if you see a market for like 40 cents, that's 60 cents on the bone. That if you think it's going to hit, that's going to get to $1. That's what every single one does. So we have a little chart that we can put up. Maybe it shows like in terms of sports gambling percentages.
Right.
Like 40
Basically,
cents is
50
like,
is even.
40 cents is like plus 140. It's like it's like a double up. You know, like we have like a chart that does the conversion. Obviously, 85 cents, yes, that's more like a negative 400. But if you have $100, you make 15.
Yeah, or if you go 15 and then she dies.
Yeah, that's true. You could. That's
Pay
one
out
option.
city.
I did. There was a morbid market one time about like who's going to be the next European leader out, and then Boris Johnson got COVID real bad, and I was like, guys, I'm about to hit on this market. I don't want to talk about. I don't want to talk about it on air, but I had a feeling he was going to die from COVID,
and that's why the
almost made a 10
max amount you
10X.
can put in is like $700. That's why, for good reason. Now I get it.
Anyways.
Anyway.
Predictit.org/promo/hard-factor40.
Yeah, they'll match your 40. So if you sign up for a new account, put in $40, and you go to predictit.org/promo/hard-factor40. Go to that URL, sign up, put $40 in, bam, you'll have $80 in your account.
And just like the MTG market, imagine all the elections next year. You got to get in there before.
We're going to be covering. Yeah, we're going to be picking them up here. It's the year.
So
2022 is the year.
So fun.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
A midterm year.
It has been making the rounds a bit, and it was requested by some of the folks in the Hardo Hive, and it happens to be right up my alley, so we're gonna cover it today. That's just the way it is. Guess who the pound-for-pound champion of binge drinking in the animal kingdom is? Besides us on a bachelor party, am I right? Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. It's not me at a friend's wedding. That's close. That's close, but it's something else. What do you think the number one animal binge drinking wise is?
Bears. Definitely
binge
bears.
drinking.
Shark. Who the most?
Did you say land animals or did you say any animal?
Any animal, and it's pound for pound. That's a hint.
Or drinks like
Bear's
a fish.
pretty
That's what I'm
big.
saying. Shark or whale.
Drinks like a fish.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that logic. The answer is hamsters.
Damn it.
Hamsters.
I was going to go raccoons with my second guess, but
that's close, and I'll tell you why once we get to the story. But hamsters apparently can easily consume 18 grams of grain alcohol per kilogram of their body weight without showing any effects of the alcohol, which is the equivalent of a adult human drinking a handle of Everclear or 190 proof and being totally fine.
they don't get drunk at all.
No, they don't get drunk at all, and they consume a lot of alcohol. They could you imagine a guy that like could slug a handle of Everclear? He just rolled around with some dude that had a handle of Everclear.
It's
and
impressive.
Smashed it.
I knew some people. I mean, I knew some people in college that could chug straight out of the handle, and they could take a decent dent out of it. But
You
never
should have been
seen
calling
anybody finish one.
Should have been calling that guy Hamster the whole time. That's Hamster. That's my boy Hamster over there. Look at him go. He's taking the handle to the face.
How do they know this? That was my question.
Very good question, Pat. Apparently, it's not just one breed either. What happened in the past is several different groups of scientists have tested this for some reason. They've tested the Syrian or golden hamsters by making them binge drink against rats at the University of Texas in the 1950s. Someone approved that study.
Oh, man, that was a party in that lab.
Rats versus hamsters.
It was just a bunch of people betting on that.
Yeah, hamsters won easy. Apparently, rats, by the way, they don't take to alcohol. So the scientists had to mix ethanol into sugar, like to trick them to drink alcohol. And then they finally started, like, as they got accustomed to it, like taking the sugar away. So they had to wean the rats onto alcohol. But any hamster, you can go to any pet store, any hamster will instantly just start drinking alcohol if you put it in their liquid feeder. They don't need you to trick them. They, in fact, love it. Apparently, hamsters prefer whole grain alcohol to water because water is just a big fucking waste of time. It doesn't have any calories, whereas the whole grain alcohol has 7 calories per like ounce or whatever it is. So they want the substance as well while they're drinking. Water's not their favorite thing.
What? You talk about hard liquor, not beer.
Liquor. Hard liquor, alcohol.
Oh, man.
They'll drink vodka out of the little thing.
Here's what happened with hamsters.
Bottle.
Here's what happened with hamsters, and people found out because I'm going to get into another study that just happened in Anchorage, Alaska, because they keep testing these hamsters with alcohol. But they're genetically built freak binge drinkers. What happened over thousands and thousands of years is hamsters are are foragers and hoarders. So they kind of like hibernate, I guess, like bears, and they would hoard fruit over the winter, which would ferment, and then they would eat it, and like over the course of generation to generation, like their kidneys became, their liver and kidneys became machines that just absolutely got all of the alcohol out. So they can just binge drink, eat fermented fruit, literally drink whole grain alcohol from their feeder all fucking day and not have any effects. Yeah. They're genetic drinking freaks. So they found this out. A professor of psychology, Gwen Lupfer from Anchorage, Alaska, decided, hey, let's do another hamster test. She says, despite her best interests, but one persistent student kept saying how awesome it would be, so they decided to test hamsters binge drinking in Anchorage, Alaska this past year. And they did a different species. They did the dwarf hamster because everyone knew that the Syrian or golden hamsters could drink. So that student, by the way, who was persistent, is named Corey Radcliffe, who also named all the hamsters in the study after popular liquor brands like Bacardi. What they found from the hamsters is that they could outdrink a sailor, and that they really liked the alcohol. For example, Bacardi was willing to do chores to get rewarded with the booze. He was like, come on, guys, I cleaned up my wheel. I wiped all the shit off my wheel. Let me get the alcohol.
Do you think they get a buzz?
That's like the drunk that would hang out in bars in the 1920s, and he'd have to sweep the floor and take out the trash.
Yeah, can I fix your collar for you?
And they'd pay him in booze. Yeah,
exactly.
Did they get fucked up?
So no, because they tested them by testing how much they wobbled, like kind of like a cop watching people's footwork leaving the
with
bars
or
in any city.
Without music on.
Right, exactly, with the wobble. They didn't wobble no matter how much they drank, but then the psychos at Anchorage took it a step further and started injecting ethanol directly into their bloodstream, and that straight fucked the hamsters up something fierce. They started wobbling and just falling over on their backs, and they basically killed these hamsters when they injected
because their livers
the same amounts. Because it never went through their liver. When it goes through their mouth, it goes.
So they just murdered some hamsters to prove that
their liver is doing this. Yes, that their livers are strong. Yeah, they ended up like killing a bunch of hamsters to prove that it was their livers that were.
And people still don't get why people don't trust scientists, and they do stuff like this all the time.
It turns out that for thousands and thousands of years, these hamsters have just become genetic freak drinking machines, kind of like the Irish. Like they're just basically hamsters are like the Irish, is what it turns out. Yeah.
So Guinness has hardened them into.
Yeah.
Can they use this data for anything or?
Nope.
Nah, just got some hamsters drunk, bro.
And cancer's still a thing, right?
Yep. No, I suppose if there was any bright side of this, you could say if humans continue to binge drink nonstop, they'll have a better tolerance and they'll be probably able to survive it more. If you the more you binge drink, the later generations.
If you train your family for generations to eat fermented fruit,
then you can handle alcohol. Yeah,
you would never get drunk. Your family would never get drunk.
Yep,
pretty cool.
That's the study.
That's groundbreaking stuff, Mark.
Very groundbreaking.
First story of 2022 for Hard Factor there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, nice.
First standalone story, yeah.
Nice that you rang it out, rang it in.
Oh, look! I also found these cute pictures of hamster bartenders. Tad, look at this. Look at this guy. Hey, serve me up one, buddy.
So cute.
Yeah, those guys are awesome. Yeah. Everybody already knew the Syrian.
Don't you kind of want to
drink?
Everyone knew, yeah. Don't you?
But all hamsters can drink, turns out. So
yes. Don't you want to kind of go to the pet store and get a hamster and kind of pour vodka and it's
no. And you cannot get a hamster because your cats would absolutely.
Should we not talk about that on the air? Is that like pet?
You can't get a hamster, man, in your house.
I'm not encouraging it, but I'm just saying I kind of want to. Yeah,
no,
I can't get
you'd have to keep that. You'd have to get literally padlock the roof.
Need the vodka because of all the stress from the cats.
Imagine a hamster in a 5-cat house. You can't. Oh man.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna say that
if anyone
can't do it.
If anyone in the hive has a hamster and you want to send us a video, and you want to send us a video of it drinking booze, I mean, I'm not
do that, but also
encouraging it. But I'm encouraging it.
Tell us if it's possible for hamsters to coexist with cats. I doubt it.
Yeah, no,
seriously doubt it.
Well, we know that field mice and hamsters can't coexist.
I mean, dude, I went to the zoo I go to here in New Jersey. There's a cheetah and a golden retriever that are best buddies. So,
remember when we killed that house mouse because we put him in the cage with the hamsters?
No, man, I don't.
It was, and then the water bowl was too high for him.
We said we never talk about that.
That mouse was named Lionheart. That was tough. That was a tough week when Lionheart died.
Poor Lionheart. R.I.P. Lionheart.
We got on a little ball and everything. He was
Yeah.
running around the house. But then we had to do a sketch.
Wasn't there another one
that required
called Cookie
hamsters.
Dough? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was one of the hamsters.
We had a lot of mice in that house.
And we had to return the hamsters after we did our sketch. They're like, "Why did you do this to us?" We're like, "We just needed them for a comedy sketch." So we killed a field mouse, and then we returned the 8 hamsters we bought. They were like, "Fuck you guys!" Like, we're like, "Well, do you want to should we just let them out in the wild?" They're like, "We'll take them back." It's like a Petco.
That's the alternative. What was the refund? Like $5?
about the money, Will.
We just wanted them off our hands.
It wasn't about the money.
Oh,
the guilt trip we got from the guy at Petco.
What's the return policy? Do I need a receipt?
Look, man, we needed them for the day, you know?
You had them over there all greased up.
Yeah.
Look, man, if we'd asked about rentals, we know you wouldn't have sold them to us, okay?
Yeah. Oops.
All right, guys.
It's time for the TikTok International Moment.
Thank you, Garcelle. Today's TikTok International Moment is going to be a world tour of the Northern Hemisphere, starting in Western Canada, moving all the way east to Korea, all the way over to Korea with some stops in the UK and Sweden.
Getting some miles.
Yeah, all the way around the top of that globe.
Yeah.
Get your ticket and get your Xanax and your mask and eye mask and all that stuff, because it's going to be a bumpy ride. Starting in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, where the Russian junior hockey team was kicked off a New Year's Eve flight for having fun on New Year's Eve and just taking it to the internet straight away. Dr. Kathleen Scherf, she tweets, 2 hours late so far on Calgary to Frankfurt flight. The Russian juniors team was in back trying to smoke cigarettes, not wearing masks, not listening to attendants. Cops swarmed the plane. We all had to get off while they and their luggage were removed.
Swarmed the plane? Yeah, sure.
Dr. Kathleen was pretty upset about that. To which Aggie replies, we were also on this flight in business class. Russian coach was trying to vape in his seat, wouldn't wear his mask, and then he played Russian rock music full blast on his phone. What a way to spend NYE, am I right? So,
he didn't put headphones in.
No, they're just playing it straight from the phone. Mark, look, those two people who were tweeting from the plane had their reports confirmed by Calgary police later on. That was indeed true. That was the case, Mark. Basically, the Russian junior hockey team was partying their faces off on their Air Canada flight home on New Year's Eve after the World Juniors tournament was canceled.
Right, their games got canceled.
Canceled mid-tournament due to COVID-19. Right, so they were kicked off because they wouldn't wear their masks or stop drinking booze that they brought onto the plane, and like the people said, the coaches were also vaping. So the Czech Republic team also got kicked off, but the Czech team claims that they just got lumped in with the Russians because they were all wearing the same, tournament sweatsuit, but that they were actually behaving. But I say, who cares, right?
Yeah, Czech rock and Russian rock sounds real similar too. I see the confusion. Yeah.
Who cares? I got the hat on. I'm going to light up a cigarette myself.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Smoking one indoors.
I flew Allegiant recently.
For the boys.
Went to use the restroom.
For the boys.
They had an ashtray in the door. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying. They're set up for you to smoke on a plane.
There's no problem with smoking on a plane.
Your wife know what you're doing right now?
And I'll say, I'm smoking in my... I cleared this. Don't worry. I got it. Don't worry. This is okay. I mean, why would you care? First of all, Pat, people smoked on planes all the time back in the day, so that's not a problem. The coaches vaping, the Russian rock music, isn't that just going to make everybody's New Year's Eve a little bit better?
What if they just handed out a bunch of free vodka? Get in on the theme.
Right.
Get in on the theme.
Just have a party.
Start pouring the vodka. The goose is loose.
Right.
Yeah.
So Anyways, having a cig, wearing the Russian hat in solidarity. Maybe just let the World Junior Hockey teams from Russia and the Czech Republic slug vodka on their flight home after their big tournament that they worked all year for got canceled midway through due to COVID. But what do I know? I'm not a doctor.
It's like if kids were coming home from prom, you got to expect them to like not get hammered after their prom got canceled.
Right.
Like right in front of their faces. They already got the big limo. Sorry that you shared a limo with kids at prom, but
yeah, they're also Russian kids that are probably going back to an existence that sucks.
Let them have a good time.
Let them enjoy
New Year's Eve.
What are you doing on their plane?
Yeah, going to Frankfurt on New Year's Eve and not partying like a real downer. That's what you're doing. Thank you, Dooley, Canadian from the Heart of Hive, for submitting that one. Let's go further east from Canada, fellas, to the United Kingdom, where, like Pat said on the last show of 2021, Prince Andrew is in some deep shit starting in 2022. Now that Ghislaine was found guilty. And now, over the weekend, we found out some more details about how the civil trial is going to play out. Specifically, he's being asked for, quote, all documents concerning your alleged medical condition of anhydrosis, hypohidrosis, or your inability to sweat.
They're making him prove it.
All of his 0 documents.
Yeah. So he's being asked to provide those.
They were written in invisible ink.
Right. Prince Andrew's lawyers are claiming that the requests for information via the discovery pretrial process are quote unquote harassment and are so far refusing to provide anything in response. But the courts are moving forward as planned with the civil trial starting today. So the judges are like, Prince Andrew, you have to provide stuff for the case.
So the Crown has to find a doctor that's willing to lie now.
I mean, this is tough because he's saying that he got his hyperhidrosis or whatever when he was serving in the British Royal Army, right?
The Falkland Island or whatever, a rush of adrenaline that made him not sweat.
It's tough because you're like, okay, veteran, right?
This guy.
Exactly. That's sweaty.
Look at how much sweat.
This guy says he doesn't sweat anymore.
He got it back.
What a fucking
and because of all those
thing
years, because of those few years where he couldn't sweat, it was probably built up.
Right.
And so it wasn't the cocaine and the alcohol, the scotch. Right. It was,
Well, I mean, like, okay, so what the dirt they have on him, right, is that photo of him and Virginia Giuffre, but he's not sweaty in that photo. So, like, why did he need to?
2001, the year that. Then they're asking for documents from that year too, and they're like not wanting to give those.
Couldn't he just say I wasn't there in the time that they're saying that he was there and sweaty? Instead, he had to invent that he lost the ability to sweat.
Right, and he's saying I don't sweat and I don't have documents to prove that, and no, I won't give you any of my correspondence from that year.
I mean, back to someone we talked about earlier in the pod, it's like OJ with the glove. He's using you heard it from her. The person there was sweaty. Okay?
Right.
And it doesn't matter that she's saying that person is me as well, because I couldn't sweat. So let's focus on the sweat and not me being there in the picture. Let's focus specifically on that one thing and this crazy excuse I have for how it couldn't have been me because I don't sweat.
I think he's going to have to settle
That's
at
insane.
some point, right? I mean, and it is a civil suit. And while it will be fun to see how Prince Andrew's team defends his inability to sweat physically or share any personal information
make
at
him
all
run wind sprints.
in court. Yeah, this week, right? do a pacer test. Wow, that's going to be fun to watch them defend that. He did get a ton of good news last week as Ian Maxwell, Ghislaine's brother, is confident that she never did and will not seek a plea deal for a lesser charge, aka Ghislaine Maxwell is swearing she won't rat on any clients to reduce her prison sentence, aka she's hoping to not meet the same fate as her boyfriend, Jeffrey Epstein, whose jail guards magically had their federal charges freshly dropped last week after her trial ended.
Someone in the Discord, I don't know, I think it might have been Rick Holt, but someone in the Discord is like, they should absolutely have Tartaglione fight Dino Tomasati to the death in Rikers Island.
Be amazing.
The 29-year-old bodybuilder versus ex-Philadelphia cop Tartaglione, who looks like he's a pit bull that definitely strangled Epstein. Yeah.
Talk about page views. I'd buy that.
Well, especially if they were fighting for their freedom.
Right.
You don't really want either of those guys out, but I'll buy the fight. Yeah.
No, you don't. No, you don't. All right. Let's keep pushing it east, fellas, to Sweden, where the world's biggest furniture seller, IKEA, has kicked off 2022 with some truly terrible news that they'll be raising prices 9% globally due to increased costs or inflation and supply chain issues on their end. So it's super sad news for a company that strives to control costs as its entire business model, selling cheap furniture. At least we still have the Costco food court for now. Hopefully that never changes. But let's not leave Europe on such a shitty note before we leave.
Please.
Take to the internet. In Naples, Italy, the mayor cited COVID as a reason to ban all fireworks for the second straight year. And fellas, you see the video there. This is how the citizens of Naples handled that 2-year ban on fireworks. Everybody in the city basically lit off big ass fireworks from their roofs. Rooftop video, absolutely insane.
Oh, that's Naples this year that you're showing.
Yeah,
this year because the
people
mayor
did that.
They pulled a I am Spartacus. They're all Spartacus. They all have the fireworks. You can't arrest all of them.
I mean, how do you even get like those are commercial grade fireworks, right?
But people fire those off in my neighborhood.
That's
too.
$15 a pop, though.
Oh yeah, it's expensive, but it was worth it.
It's but the point was proven, Pat.
I'm not mad at it, Will.
Sticking it to the man, Pat.
That's right.
I mean,
it's priceless to stick it.
It's an investment.
To the
I mean, look how long this video goes. I'm just gonna it's silent, so you guys could just keep watching it while we talk about it. But yeah,
it's a lot of fireworks. Yeah,
I mean, the whole city showed up, went all out, be like, "Fuck you," and your firework ban due to COVID.
Hopefully, there's no dogs in Naples. Dogs or veterans with PTSD
or babies.
Or babies. Yeah.
I got lucky. Pat, did your baby wake up during the fireworks?
No,
there were no fireworks here.
Two lucky dads right there. And you just love to see this in Naples. I mean, absolutely, the citizens they're like, fuck you, government. You can't tell us not to have fun on New Year's Eve.
They're used to their cars exploding there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I'm with the people of Naples and the Russian hockey team on this one. People should have fun.
That's a good fireworks display. I agree.
People should have fun on New Year's Eve.
Let the kids enjoy their plane ride home. Yeah.
And finally, fellas, taking it to Korea, where the unthinkable has happened. We're going all the way east, finally. The unthinkable is, in this case, a South Korean has apparently defected to North Korea, going directly through the heavily guarded and mined.
Why did he do that?
Demilitarized zone. So South Korean they just made it straight through the heavily guarded, covered with booby traps.
Oh man.
Into North Korea. And while about 30,000 North Koreans have braved the DMZ route to defect south.
Talk about being unprepared for a guest, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's no way to prepare to go into North Korea, into the lion's den.
They caught him so off guard. I just mean, you got nothing for them to eat. I mean, literally, because it's North Korea. But even if they had food that day,
right?
Just not planning for that guest, really.
Exactly.
Never thought that would happen.
They have planned for it, Pat. Almost nobody's gone south to north like this person's done for obvious reasons, like Pat points out. But it must have been on somebody's New Year's resolution, because at about 10:40 p.m. local time, the night of January 1st, 2022, South Korean military confirmed that they detected the person who had made it through the DMZ and defected to North Korea, and that they had called and requested to North Korea that this person please not be killed, since that's obviously the policy in North Korea during the pandemic, and also probably any time at all, is to just kill any unknown person on site.
Please don't kill the crazy person that's about to emerge from the DMZ.
Yep. Yeah. Is this like someone got out? Is this someone got out? Like, is this guy
a crazy person, Pat?
Like a sweet tiz that we need to bring back?
Tiz.
Did he not know? Is it like the kid on your soccer team growing up who had special needs and scored an own goal? Is it like that?
It's puzzling.
It's like the guy who went into the wild and thought he was just going to live in the wild and die.
Right.
It's like 13 miles away from civilization.
Yeah. I'm hoping it's even a step above that, and it's an undercover situation where it's like some badass who's going to work his way to the top and work for Kim Jong-un eventually. And then the final fight takes place right outside the piranha tank and inside the piranha tank, where he dunks him in. That'd be pretty cool.
To survive the bullet to the head that they shot him with when he crossed over, right?
Right. And North Korea is probably not going to let us know what happened there. So
no. I think they probably laughed at him, and then
Right
killed
before.
him. And then killed him. That's my
This is
guess.
very funny. We can't
Yeah.
trust you. We
Oh
can't
God! This
Wish
is
we
first
could.
first time, but you know we have to kill you. Yeah.
because you seem funny. We'd like to hang out with you.
Oh, who knows? I like to think that maybe it worked out for this insane individual. And that's the first TikTok International Moment of 2022, and that's going to do it for the first Hard Factor of 2022. As always, thank you for listening, especially on Spotify, and dropping us that 5-star review on the podcast. Get those numbers up, or wherever else you enjoyed the pod. It's been incredible being able to bring you the news to the Hardo Hive since 2018. We can't wait to see where 2022 takes us next. I need to get Large scheduled for a visit. We were discussing with him on Twitter. And also, we need to spin the wheel. So here's the wheel.
Yes. Wes is back. Everyone's in the wheel.
Everybody's in the wheel.
Everyone's in the
First
wheel.
up, spinning for who does the cup of coffee in the big time, January 4th.
Okay.
Spin it. Spin it.
Mm-hmm. Keep on going there.
And it is
Wes.
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 All right. It's Wes.
We have a winner.
Congrats,
We
Wes.
have a winner. It's Wes. Congrats, Pat, really. You didn't
Yeah.
you didn't have to do it for what, the 5th day in a row?
4 days in a row. something
Congrats,
like that.
Pat.
All right. Next for TikTok International Moment is
Pat.
Oh,
Yeah, for
I love going international.
all right,
so
Pat. You're gonna get to go international.
come at me tomorrow.
Mark is on a story streak. Look at that.
I don't know. I mean, I'll find another one. You know it.
I bet you will. And thank you again for listening. We love you all. And most importantly, have a great fucking day.